Now, concerning marriage, divorce, and family issues, the law commands that the newly married husband shall be free for 1 year to do what? To rejoice with his wife. Deuteronomy chapter 24 verse 5. Okay? And closely related, and I will get to that, we will read the scripture. And closely related to that is that a bridegroom shall be exempt for a whole year from taking part in any public labor, such as military service, guarding the wall, and similar duties. Okay, so Deuteronomy chapter 24 verse 5. Deuteronomy chapter 24 verse 5. It says, when a man takes a new wife, he is not to go out with the army, nor be assigned any duty. He shall be free at home for 1 year, and shall make his wife whom he has taken happy. Okay? You are supposed to stay with your wife if you are newly married. You are not supposed to do any work or any public service whatsoever. You are supposed to stay in your closet, making your newly married wife happy. My brother, is that what you have been doing? Is that what you did? Or is that what you are doing? If you did not do that, or if you are not currently doing that, if you are newly married, then you are breaking the law of God. Just to let you know. Just to let you know. Also, the law specifies the marriage duty of a surviving brother. I hope you know that as well, right? It commands the surviving brother to marry the widow of a brother who has died without a son. We can also see that in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 25 verse 5. Deuteronomy chapter 25 verse 5 says, when brothers live together and one of them dies and has no son, the wife of the deceased shall not be married outside the family to a strange man. Her husband's brother shall have relations with her and take her to himself as his wife and perform the duty of a husband's brother to her. Okay? If, God forbid, you lose a brother who had no son, did you have to pick up his wife? Oh, listen, it appears there may be a way out if you don't want to marry your late brother's wife. Deuteronomy chapter 25 verse 7 to 10 seems to provide a way out. Let's look at that. Deuteronomy chapter 25 verse 7 to 10. But if the man does not want to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gate to the elders and say, my husband's brother refuses to raise up a name to his brother in Israel. He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother. Verse 8. Then the elders of the city shall call him and speak to him. But if he stands firm and says, I do not want to take her, then his brother's wife shall come to him in the presence of the elders, remove his sandal from his foot, spit in his face, and answer and say, so shall it be done to the man who will not build up his brother's house. Verse 10. And his name shall be called in Israel, the house of him who had his sandal removed. Okay, here is another law relating to married couples. It says, if a woman tries to intervene and rescue her husband when another man is beating her husband, her hand must be cut off and no one must show mercy to her. Let's read it in Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 11 to 12. Deuteronomy 25 from 11 to 12. If two men fight together and the wife of one draws near to rescue her husband from the hand of the one attacking him and puts out her hand and seizes him by the genitals, then you shall cut off her hand. Your eye shall not pity her. That's another one there. Also, according to the law, do you know that us men are not supposed to remove our entire beard? Like, have a clean shave or something like that. Leviticus chapter 19 verse 27 says, Leviticus chapter 19 verse 27 says, you shall not round off the side growth of your beards, nor harm the edges of your beard. Straight and direct. You cannot shave off your beard completely. You can't have a clean shave. That's what the law says. Is that what you are doing, my brother? Has there been any time you had a clean shave? If your answer is yes, then you are in contravention of the law of God. Now, the law also says you must not wear clothes that combines wool and linen. Maybe you haven't had that before. You cannot wear clothes that have both wool and linen together. Let me read it loud for you. Deuteronomy again, chapter 22, verse 11. It says, you shall not wear a material mixed of wool and linen together. You shall not wear a material mixed of wool and linen together. You know, some people like to say, oh, don't worry about all the ceremonial laws and dietary laws and fashion laws because they are obsolete. But the moral laws are still applicable to us today. Let's consider a few interesting laws on morality. Because some people say, oh, the moral laws are still applicable to us even under the current dispensation of the new covenant. Again, Deuteronomy chapter 22 from verse 13 to 20. So please pay attention here because this is a long read. Starting from verse 13. Watch this. If any man takes a wife and goes into her and then turns against her and charges her with shameful deeds and publicly defames her and says, I took this woman, but when I came near her, I did not find her a virgin. Then the girl's father and her mother shall take and bring out the evidence of the girl's virginity to the elders of the city of the gate. Verse 16. The girl's father shall say to the elders, I gave my daughter to this man for a wife, but he turned against her, and behold, he has charged her with shameful deeds, saying, I did not find your daughter a virgin. But this is the evidence of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the garment before the elders of the city. Verse 18. So the elders of that city shall take the man and chastise him, and they shall fine him 100 shekels of silver, and give it to the girl's father, because he publicly defamed a virgin of Israel, and she shall remain his wife. He cannot divorce her all his days. Verse 20. But if this charge is true, that the girl was not found a virgin, then they shall bring out the girl to the doorway of her father's house, and the men of the city shall stone her to death, because she has committed an act of folly in Israel by playing the harlot in her father's house. Thus you shall purge the evil from among you. That is the morality under the law. And if we say we are following the law and we are implementing the law, then this is what should have been happening in our homes. And since many people still say, oh, those moral laws are still in operation, even under this new covenant, then this is what should have been happening. And can we really say this is what has been happening? Okay. Now, there is another one in verse 28 of the same Deuteronomy chapter 22. It says, if a man finds a girl who is a virgin, who is not engaged, and seizes her and lies with her, and they are discovered, then the man who lay with her shall give the girl's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall become his wife, because he has violated her. He cannot divorce her all his days. So, essentially, a rapist gets rewarded with the victim's hand in marriage. That's what that means. Somebody grabs a young lady, violates her, rapes her, and then he gets to have a hand in marriage in exchange for some pieces of shekel. These are the provisions of the law. If this is not what has been happening among us, then we are not keeping the law, okay?